Today, we are at the most popular museum in the Smithsonian family, the National Air and Space Museum, and more specifically, the Udvar-Hazy Center. And it has so many great sites, such as the Enola Gay, obviously right behind me, the Discovery Space Shuttle, Lockheed Blackbird. There's just so many to name, but follow me as we begin our journey. The Discovery Shuttle has a 30-year history where it went on 39 different missions and spent roughly a year in space. It is probably the most tenured space shuttle in NASA history, so that's what makes it one of the most unique and special pieces here at the museum. Along with the space shuttle, we have early capsules from the Gemini 4, Friendship 7, as well as some more modern capsules like from Apollo 11. So it's really remarkable to see how far we've come with spaceflight. So one thing we learned here is they actually have darts and Scrabble, along with other things that they developed for astronauts. That way they could be entertained or get through normal daily life functions. Actually, this may be my favorite section, which is the food section. How delicious does bread in the tube sound? It sounds very yummy to me. I'm sure Andrea totally agrees. Behind me is the famous Lockheed Blackbird. It is the fastest jet. And just to give you an idea of how fast it is, in 1990, they flew it from LA all the way to Washington, DC in 1 hour and 4 minutes. I don't know about you, but I wish all my commercial airlines would be that fast. This center opened on the 100th anniversary of the Wright brothers' first flight in 1903. So to honor early flight, we're going to take a look at some of the early airplanes and vehicles and see what flight was like back then. As you can see, some of these early planes, they followed like a similar model to the Wright brothers. This one here is an early seaplane, the Curtiss N9E. And you can even see the inside of it, see what it looked like under the hood. The Cauldron G.4 is an early World War I French plane used mostly for reconnaissance and a little bit of bombing, but it played a major influence on future planes and especially warplanes. The Donald Egan Observation Tower is a must-do in the museum. Unfortunately, we came on a really foggy day, but on a bright sunny day, you could see planes taking off and landing at the Dulles Airport, as well as a spectacular view of Fairfax County. So if you're here on a sunny day, definitely check out the observation deck. The Mary Baker Egan Restoration Hangar is obviously, like the name implies, is a restoration hangar for planes from World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, commercial planes, all types of planes. So it's really cool to see how they take these planes and restore them to their former glory. As a kid, the trick planes were probably my favorite. And you can see them right here on the second level. And you could just imagine seeing them do flips, acrobats, smoke, fireworks. Just amazing, full on display. This is probably the most remarkable suit I've ever seen. In 2014, Alan Eustace wore this suit as he was hauled up by an air balloon all the way up in the sky, practically almost to outer space. And then he free fell from it. Just this suit, nothing else, no capsule, nothing. He set a record for the highest free fall ever. I mean, I can only imagine how much heat and temperatures he had to deal with. I mean, this is crazy. You could never pay me to do this. Behind me, there are two airplanes that we definitely need to discuss. First is the Concorde, or the Air France plane that you see behind me. It is famous for the nose, as well as being a supersonic airline. It set many records on transatlantic flights for being some of the fastest airplanes in existence for commercial flight. Now, right in front of it is La Cucaracha. Very small flight that was designed in the 30s for amateur flight enthusiasts to build and fly their own plane. Obviously not the biggest and definitely not the safest airplane that you could have, so it didn't last too long. But two really cool airplanes to see at the museum. When you come to the Udvar-Hazy Center, seeing the warplanes is a must-do. They have planes from World War II, Korean, Vietnam War, as well as planes from Japan and Germany from the World War II area. And it is amazing to see different sides and get a comparison with American warplanes versus some of the other sides in the war. So let's take a look at some of these planes. The Seiran behind me, which is a World War II Japanese fighter plane, is really unique. It was a plane developed to launch directly from a submarine, so it used a blend of different operational systems made for aviation, as well as marine or aquatic aviation. So it's really cool to see this unique plane here, even though it didn't see any wartime action. The He-219 was Germany's most formidable nighttime fighters. And just to give you an idea, in 1943, it took out 5 British bombers. And you could see the antennas on the front could identify foreign fighter vehicles or bombers, so it was very, very deadly. It also was equipped with its first steerable nose wheel, as well as ejectable seats, which would be later used in flight aviation. But this is just one of the most iconic pieces you can see from World War II. The Enola Gay is probably the most famous plane. It's a B-29 bomber, a long-distance bomber that was used in World War II, but famous for dropping the atomic bomb on Japan in Hiroshima. Obviously, because of the symbolism and what it did, it's very controversial, and a lot of people were kind of upset that it's on display. But you can see it for yourself here on the museum. As we wrap up our adventure at the museum, there is just so much to take in. I think the Blackbird and the Discovery Shuttle are my favorite. But put your comments below of what your favorite vehicle or airplane is. And it's very economical. I mean, we only paid $15 for parking, but museum entrance is completely free, and it's very kid-friendly. We saw a lot of kids running around learning about different planes and flight. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe, as we have so many more adventures planned. But until next time, keep on exploring. How's that? The Seiran, which was a Japanese... Seiran.
Seiran.
Seiran. Seiran.